Welcome back to SOS Briefs, brought to you by the American Security Council Foundation. Back again with me is Senior Analyst Lawrence Sanford, and we are going to discuss again updates to his article back in August on China and U.S. land grabs. Today is going to go a little different, as you probably have seen in the news about these Chinese cranes in our ports. Larry, if you could brief us on why the port cranes could pose a national security risk.
It's all part of the Chinese strategy, 100-year war, of taking over America and world domination. And they're making inroads not only in grabbing land near our military bases, but they're also taking over our private industries and key industries. And certainly the port facilities are key to prosperity. I mean, we're a trading nation. We always have been a trading nation. And for example, the Chinese control the ports in both ends of the Panama Canal. They control ports all over the world. And those ports that they don't control, they own equipment. And one of the types of equipment that have been raised recently as being a possible security threat are cranes. The Chinese firm accounts for 80% of all the world's crane usage. And these cranes are huge devices that unload ships onto land. And they go for millions of dollars. They're operated with Chinese software, and in many instances by Chinese workers who come to various countries on work permits to run their crane operations. But they're loaded with software. And recently in Baltimore, a ship coming in with some Chinese cranes were also intercepted having Chinese surveillance equipment. And so who knows what they do, but by controlling the ports, the Chinese now can control what's going in and what's going out. They can track the containers. And again, the Chinese make 80% of all the world's shipping containers. So they are developing a lock on worldwide transportation. And the U.S. ports also involved with military shipments. And so now they're tracking containers containing military equipment, military ships. And so the surveillance state of the CCP with the growth of computers and so forth has become a real issue. And not only the cranes are an issue, the biggest issue recently is the Huawei telecommunications organization that has been banned in the U.S., but it's still operating. The Congress ordered the telecommunication companies, many of them in the Middle West, smaller rural areas, and guess what? They're near a lot of our missile launching silos. These small telecommunications company with this Chinese-owned equipment that has cameras, that has surveillance equipment, and they're still there because Congress allocated $1.2 billion to replace them. The telecommunications company saying we need another $3 billion to do it, so they're still there. So,
and to your point of Huawei being near the missile locations, that was where the spy balloon was over one of the missile locations, and Huawei's land is right there by it.
Yes. And so it's just one never-ending wave of Chinese takeovers in control. I mean, the Chinese have bought their way into our elite institutions, our elite leaders. I think the balloon might have burst the bubble, so to speak, that maybe the people are now starting to be aware of the fact that China is not our friend, that we should be treating them as an adversary in a very firm way and not a belligerent way. The recently promoted foreign minister of China is sort of threatening America that if we don't amend our ways, then there's going to be serious consequences. I would propose to that Chinese minister that perhaps China should amend its ways.
Yes.
But that's another matter altogether. So.
Yes, and I think that it has captured America's attention with the spy balloon for sure, and now we are seeing all these different wins for America on the land grab situations. So hopefully we will see more in the future. And to your ports, I know the Chinese have a big presence in Freeport, just in the Bahamas, just off our coast here. And they also have a big presence in Greece, that big port that goes
Piraeus.
all inland to different European countries.
Yes.
So a lot of our NATO allies and other British allies.
Yeah. And the U.S. Navy fleet used to make a big stop in Greece at that Piraeus port. So the Chinese control ports at Navy ships, and they're taking over countries in the South Pacific, for example, the Solomon Islands. A U.S. Coast Guard ship was denied permission to dock in the Solomon Islands because the Chinese had made a deal with the Solomon people. And usually the Solomon leaders, and the leaders in a lot of these countries are basically paid off. The Chinese do not operate under the corruption laws that our American firms and leaders operate under. So they're free to bribe the weak, and they do it very effectively. But one step at a time. And being aware is half the battle.
Yes, and I think we're gaining a little ground there.
I think so too. I think we're working hard on doing just that. One of my favorite expressions is better to light one candle than to curse the darkness. So we're trying to light those candles as fast as we can.
And you can read more of Larry's articles on our website at www.ascf.us. Please subscribe to our newsletter, and you'll receive updates on his articles as they come out and on our podcast as well. You can also follow us on Facebook and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to SOS Briefs, and join us again next time.